In my opinion, Stevie Nicks hit an incredible peak in the 1980s as a songwriter and a performer that is pretty much unequaled. She is an incredible legend in rock, but people often overlook the fact that she was such a prolific and gifted songwriter, particularly since she was in Fleetwood Mac, a band that featured other equally talented songwriters. So in the 80s, when she started to record her solo albums, her basis for doing this was the fact that she just had so much material that Fleetwood Mac couldn't accommodate it all. I've always thought that was interesting, and I always thought that maybe Fleetwood Mac missed an artistic opportunity in not recording more of Stevie Nicks' material. In fact, I always thought they should have done an entire album of her material and let her be the front woman just for one album. I'm not saying let her take over the band forever, but it would have been interesting to say the least. I know that it's not a practical idea, it's purely fantasy, but say that would have happened. What would that album have been like? And what songs do I think we can call from Nicks' first 4 solo album that would make good fits for a single album by Fleetwood Mac, where she was the front woman and the lead singer and songwriter? So this hypothetical album, in my idea, is only songs that Stevie Nicks wrote herself with no co-writer. So Stop Dragging My Heart Around is not going to be on here, and other songs like I Can't Wait, anything that featured another songwriter. I'm strictly going with songs that Nicks wrote by herself, the music and the lyrics, that I think would have made a good fit for Fleetwood Mac to record. And so I've chosen 8 tracks, like I say, culled out of Stevie Nicks' 1980s solo catalog, nothing after that. And I'm not really using demos here, I'm going after the ones that were released. In one case, there's a song from the Fast Times at Ridgemont High soundtrack, but it could have just as easily been on a Stevie Nicks solo album. So let's just get going, and I'll talk about exactly what the songs are and talk a little bit about why. So I also arranged them in the order that I think would make for a good album. I'm thinking album sides here. Okay, so had Fleetwood Mac done an entire album of Stevie Nicks songs, here's the ones I think that would have made a good single album. We start off on side 1 with Edge of 17, which I don't think Fleetwood Mac would have had any problem covering this song, and I think that they would have it would have given a chance for Mick Fleetwood to do a little bit of interesting drum work behind that constant droning of the guitar, that constant chug, and also it's a really good solid opener. It would have made a really good solid album opener. My second pick is Sleeping Angel, because it has that acoustic ballad trademark that Stevie Nicks is known for, and it is a beautiful song with great lyric. It shows her songwriting skills at pared down version, and there's just enough production on it to highlight her melody and her musical sensibilities. My third track is Outside the Rain, which you realize she deals a lot with the same chord progressions that you would get in Dreams. That is the trademark song for the particular kind of chordal tones and colors that she likes to use. And Outside the Rain is a sped up version of this particular signature chord progression, and it's a really good one. Now you could argue that Waddy Wachtel gave Outside the Rain a really interesting live arrangement and possibly contributed to the arrangement that was recorded. So it may not have been exactly the same song had it been done by Fleetwood Mac, but I still think it would have been a really strong song. I don't think it's outside of Fleetwood Mac's comfort zone, and they know Stevie's pocket where she likes to sing, so I think they could have done a really good job with that one. Closing out side 1 is the song Wild Heart. And on this one, I think you would want to feature a little more background vocals than what you got on the Stevie Nicks version. I think this one would sound really good with that trademark Fleetwood Mac harmony vocals. Alright, starting on side 2, we'll kick it off with Stand Back, which is a great song that Fleetwood Mac actually did perform live. So if you want to know what it would sound like if Fleetwood Mac performed it, it's not hard to do, and they do a great job. I don't think that there is much of a difference, like a meaningful distinction between the Fleetwood Mac version and the versions that you would get from Stevie Nicks' various solo bands. Sometimes Stevie has a larger band, like a bigger live ensemble, but I think that this song is, again, it's right in the pocket for Fleetwood Mac, and it would have been interesting to hear them record it. Following that, on side 2, I put No Spoken Word, which is another riff on the trademark Dreams chord progression, and again at a faster tempo. There's a little bit of an interesting way that this song is broken down. It features Nix's vocals pushed up way to the front. So if you say, well, it's very close to Outside the Rain features that chord progression and that arrangement as the solid starting point of the song, whereas No Spoken Word pushes Stevie's vocals to the front. And I think that, again, this to me, of the 8 songs that I chose, No Spoken Word was the one I hedged about the longest, because again, it's kind of a retread of the general Stevie Nicks chord progression. It wouldn't be much of a stretch for Fleetwood Mac. And I do also think, again, in this particular instance, you could have done some interesting background vocals with the rest of the band. Now, Leather and Lace is my penultimate song for the album, and clearly this is going to be a duet between Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. I don't need to say anything more. You can see how it would work out. Use your imagination to see exactly how this one would have turned out. So my last pick is the song If I Were You from Rock a Little, which is a song that I think is a great closeout song for the album. And Stevie has a great way of arranging her chord transitions in a pop song to maximize the emotional resonance. So let me say that again. She has a great way of arranging her music to promote the greatest possible emotional response from the audience. It's not necessarily in the lyrics, it's not necessarily in her vocal tone, and it's not always in her vocal phrasing. It's in the way she envisions a song. So she could take a song that has a subject matter that most people can't relate to, like a Celtic goddess from 2,000 years ago in Rhiannon, and everyone's singing along with it. Or she can take deep personal emotional responses to her romantic life or her family life or her professional life, and she can express these in songs that everybody can relate to, primarily because she has such an incredible understanding of how melody impacts emotional response. And with this basic fundamental understanding, she operates from there to start with as a songwriter. And this is why she's such a strong songwriter. So anyway, these are the 8 songs I feel would have made an excellent Fleetwood Mac album. I don't think there's a song on the list that Fleetwood Mac would have stumbled over or had difficulty finding a studio arrangement or a live arrangement for, and I'm not sure it would have hurt the band all that much to let Nicks go to the forefront for one album. Of course, this is a completely impractical idea given the realities of money and ego and scheduling and just... Anyway, those are my 8 picks for a Stevie Nicks led Fleetwood Mac album. What are your picks, if any? So if you have a thought on this or other subjects connected to classic or contemporary music, please comment in the section below, and remember to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.